So lesson 5-8, 7th graders, is going back to solving equations. And these are all going to be multiplication equations with fractions in them. Okay? So we're going to be multiplying fractions. We're going to be dividing fractions with this. And remember that anytime you are solving an equation, the goal is to get the variable by itself. To get rid of the coefficient, which is the number next to the variable, and to get only one of the variable left on the side by itself. So I have some examples up here for you to put in your notes. Let's go through the procedure. First thing you need to do with fractions and equations is to convert all numbers to fraction form. So just like before, if you have a mixed number, you convert it to a top-heavy fraction. Remember how to do that? Then you have to find the coefficient of the variable. The coefficient is the number next to the variable. So in this one, once we write 5a as a fraction, you write it as 5 over 1a. 5 over 1a, that 5 over 1 is the number that's right next to the variable, isn't it? Look up here. And that means that that's the coefficient. That number right next to the variable is the coefficient. Okay? And we've got to get rid of that 5 over 1. We have to convert it so that it just says 1a. We have to solve it for 1a. We have 5a, we got to convert it and solve it for 1a. So, in order to do that, you multiply both sides. We'll start on the side with the variable, but you multiply both sides of the equation by the reciprocal of the coefficient. Now, we talked about what reciprocals are before. Once you have a fraction, it's really easy to find the reciprocal. What do you do with the fraction to find its reciprocal? You just flip it over. So, if the coefficient is 5 over 1, then you multiply by 1 over 5, or 1/5. Is that sinking in? Processing. The coefficient is 5 over 1, and then you multiply by 1 over 5. What's 1 over 5 times 5 over 1? What do you get when you multiply reciprocals together? Uno, 1, exactly. 1. So we have 1a left. That's what we're trying to do, is get to 1a. See, it's like this puzzle. We got to figure out how do you get, you got this stuff, you got all this stuff. How do we get this to 1a? Well, you multiply by the coefficient. Sorry, multiply by the reciprocal. You flip the coefficient over. Now, once we have 1a, now we can multiply by that same number, 1 over 5, on the other side. So, you got two fractions, you multiply them together. 1 times 1 is 1, 7 times 5 is 35, so the answer is 1 over 35. The solution is 1 over 35. Okay? And then you can check it. 5 over 1 times 1 over 35 equals 1/7. It checks. Got it. Okay? Same thing you do with a mixed number. Convert it to fraction form. So if we have -1 and 5/8 n times equals 26, then convert it to a fraction. 1 times 8 plus 5 is 13. Write it over the denominator. So it's 13/8. You know how to do that. Mixed numbers to fractions. You've been doing that for a couple of years already. That's nothing new. It's 13/8 n. Sorry, negative 13/8 n. Okay? What would the reciprocal of that be? Negative 8/13. Negative 8 over 13. It's this negative 13 over 8 That's the coefficient, and so you flip it over and multiply. Then we got 1n left, positive 1n. So multiply that by the other side, and you have negative 16. Okay, do all of you have these in your notes? Okay? So I want you to follow this procedure. Just what we did. If you need to review this through the video, you can do that. And I want you to do 2 through 20 evens on page 274. 274, 2 to 20 evens.